All right. Rogier is trying to record to Twitch and YouTube on the Armour Class Zero stream thing. Take 3. And I'm actually already getting a pop-up. Armour Class Zero live stream on YouTube. Now, I just need to check if the Twitch is working. I just wanted to say that I'm not doing this by myself. I got help from Brains and Nim. So thanks, guys. You're awesome. You know way more about technical stuff than I do. Yeah, there we go. I'm live. Hi. Hey, everybody. It's a DM called Rogier, and I'm here. Welcome. This is a completely just random thing that I thought of today because I wanted to address you guys for just a little while to address what happened last night. It was kind of bummer. We were into the game, but as we had before, there was some technical difficulties, and it killed our connection. And it took a while for us to be up and running, and by that time it was like, I don't know, 10:15 or something. So it was too late for us to get back into the game. It would just have been 15 minutes or something, and then we would have been rounding down. So we decided to just call it quits. But man, all right. Wait, before I start rambling, I needed to check if I actually am hearing myself. So I got my phone. Let me check, because that'd be sucky. Yeah, okay. We got audio. At least people can hear me. I don't know if they want to, but well. So sorry about that. We're working on it to get a more stable internet connection and to kind of be more reliable in those kind of things, because there's nothing worse than, well, there's a lot of things worse than that, but it's just sucky. You just want to have a good time and play the game and not be taken out of it by technical difficulties. But thanks to everybody that was listening and watching us. We at least had a fun time, and I'm pretty sure that the next episode, everybody's going to go out and have an adventure and leave the village and just go into the deep, dark woods and have a good time. So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about. The second thing is that I thought it might be fun, and I talked to the players about this, that I thought it might be fun for us. The players did an introduction for their characters and stuff, but you don't really know a lot about us. And I don't know if you guys want to know stuff about us. You don't have to, but if you do, then we're going to make some videos telling you guys stuff about us. You might not care. You might find it interesting. It's not going to be an in-depth interview or whatever. Just us kind of rambling towards the camera and letting you guys know who we are, what we like. Role-playing games, obviously. But just giving you guys a little insight in us. So I'll start with myself. Some of the players are recording stuff, so they're gonna have fancy editing and stuff. I just more of the fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. So I just thought, like, fuck it, I'll just go on a stream and talk to you guys directly. So as you guys know, my name is Rogier. I am. Should I tell you guys my age? Yeah, why not? I don't care. I am 39 years old, and I have been playing role-playing games in some kind of capacity for ever since I was 11, I think. Yeah, 11 is probably the right age. I'm thinking I was in what we call class 7 here in the Netherlands, and so you're about 11 when that happens. So a little story about how I became uh, pulled in by role playing games. I was on a holiday. My grandma and I were going on a holiday. We were going to one of the islands in the north of the Netherlands called Texel, and over there we would meet my aunt and my cousin. And so we went over there, and my cousin got me a card game, um, like a I don't really know the rules, but it was just a card game full of creatures, monsters, dragons, goblins, all kinds of stuff, elves, and each of them had like five or six, or maybe even four, maybe just four categories, which they were strong at, and they all had different scores on those cards, and you would play them, and so you would battle against each other, and you all had like a hand of cards, and somebody would place down a card and say like, okay, this guy attacks you, and then you had to either defend yourself with one of the cards or not. And of course, you had really powerful monsters with like dragons and stuff, and they could just beat pretty much everybody. But then you needed to decide when you wanted to play those things. So it was just a simple game, but it was fun. So we were staying there, I think, for about a week, and my cousin told me about this game he was playing in Switzerland, and it was called Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, okay. So we pretty much used those cards as a reference point. So everything that all the monsters and things that I found in those cards, I asked him like, hey, did you ever meet like a giant? And he's like, yeah, we met a giant and stuff. And it was just during the week telling me about it, and it really connected with me. I was really into it, and I was like, oh man, that's amazing. And so I was into it, and but I had no idea where it was, when it was available, nothing like that whatsoever. And after the holiday, I went back home, and I was in like a general store. Well, what's it called? A warehouse, like a big store where they sell all kinds of things, including board games and stuff, and toys and things. So I was around 11 at this time, and I saw this guy walking around with a red box, and on it had like the warrior like this, and the golden or red dragon standing like the pretty much the most iconic image that D&D has ever put out, I think. Well, never mind. I was and I was seeing him like kind of looking at it, and I was like, oh my god, this is what my cousin was talking about. This is Dungeons and Dragons. I need to have that. So I kind of looked, and I saw him that he took it out of the display, and it was one box. I was always like, oh man, that sucks. So he was kind of looking at it and was like, meh, nah. So I did something. Forgive me. I kind of stood there, also kind of watching the board games, and I kind of looked at it, and I was kind of like, nah. So I said to him like, Dungeons and Dragons, yeah, I hear bad things about it. He's like, oh yeah. So he kind of threw it back at the shelves, and I was like, oh my god. So I took it, and I went to my mom, and I said like, oh mom, please, can I have this? Can I have this? Please, please, please. And my mom was, well, yeah, I think you could say that we were living on welfare and stuff, so we had, the money was a big no. So my mom was like, what? No, I'm not buying you this. It's not your birthday. There's nothing going on. Why should I buy you this? I can't buy you this. So I was like, oh man, there goes my chance of happiness. So we went home, and I was completely bummed out, and I was back home, and I was like, oh man, now I never get to play it. And my grandma called, and she's just like an angel. I love her to death. She died sadly a while ago, but she was awesome. So she called up and she says like, "Hey, how are you doing? And are you enjoying yourself?" And she said like, "Yeah, I talked to your mom, and she said there's this strange game that you really like. Your cousin also plays it. How badly do you want it?" I was like, "Badly? Hello." And she was like, "Okay, well, I was planning on taking you to go somewhere and do some things, but if you want, I'll buy you this game, and then you can have this game for me. And your mom will give you the money, and I'll give the money to your mom to buy this game." So I was like, "Oh yes, please!" So I jumped on my bike and I rode back to the store, and I got the game, and I got it. I was super happy, and it was like these really thin books. I still have them actually, but they're falling apart. It's horrible. But these really thin books, and they were written in Dutch. So I was like, and I am not a big reader. That's because I have a mild form of dyslexia. So reading is not my cup of tea. I love books, but I reading is tiring and hard for me. So, but I was like, I need to read this. So I started reading these books, and I was like, okay, okay, and I still think it's really well done. It kind of takes you into the adventure. It was kind of like make your own adventure kind of books where it started. As you go like, okay, you are fighting, walking in here, blah blah blah. Write this down on a piece of paper. Write this down, and you meet this cleric, and she helps you, and it was all kind of fun. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. And I kept reading, and then it came to other parts, and it didn't make any sense to me. I was just looking at it, and I was like, what are they trying to tell me here? I can't make it heads or tails from this. So I was completely bummed, and I tried it like weeks and just trying to make stuff. And this was pre-internet, so I there was no real way for me to get help or anything. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. So I kind of threw the books to the side, and they stayed there for months. And months later, it might be even a year later or something, or I don't know. But my cousin from Switzerland came over, and I told him about it. Oh man, I got these books and they suck. I can't make heads or tails from it. What the hell's going on? And he looked at him, and because his parents are Dutch, so he could read Dutch, and he was like reading it, and just he says like, what don't you get? And I was like, here, what? This doesn't make any sense. And he was looking at it. He said like, yeah, I can imagine, because I know these rules, and these are wrongly translated. So he kind of made adjustments with them, and it clicked. It was awesome. I got it, and it made sense. So we started playing it. I created my first character with him, which was a halfling, and his name was Ace. And the fun thing is, and at that time, halflings wasn't was just by itself standing something. So you didn't decide to become like a halfling cleric or a halfling rogue or something. A halfling was just a halfling. There was a race and a class by itself. So we started playing, and I have loved it ever since. And I have made steps away from it, from D&D. When I grew up, I became like a teenager and stuff, and I learned there was like a gaming store opened up where I live, and they had like a Vampire the Masquerade, and I went from like, ooh, that is cool. You could get to play a vampire. So these things that I only fought in my D&D games, you now actually got to play, and it was no longer this fantasy thing. And I'm a bit ashamed to say, I was like, fantasy for kids. I need to be rough and tough, and I need to be in the real world, and but with vampires. So I started playing Vampire the Masquerade. I got lots of books from that, and I was really into the World of Darkness. So I got vampire books, werewolf books, mage books. I love mage. Mage was amazing. The way they did magic in that mage game, amazing, amazing. I got a pile of books from Exalted. I think it was like the first and the second edition, and so I played it tons with lots of people, and I got a group of friends, and somebody made like their own version of a role playing game, and so we played that a lot, and it was just fun and amazing. And so I've played role playing games pretty much from my 11th year on to now 39. But it's amazing. It's something that I love doing. It's something that I can express myself with, especially when I was a teen. You know, I was struggling with things, and I was just pissed off about a lot of stuff. And role playing games just gave me a really great way to, you know, deal with stuff and everything that I was angry about and frustrated about. It just I quite quickly became the dungeon master or the storyteller. So I got to like kind of forge these frustrations and angers and fears into stories, and it worked. It worked really well, and it was a wonderful way for me to express myself and to connect with people and to make friends, and it's amazing. And I still do it, and I'm assuming I will still do it when I'm like a senior citizen. I mean, what better way especially if you're physically limited or something, than to just be able to sit down and have a wonderful time with friends and people you care about, but also new people, and just have a great time together. So that's how I pretty much got into the hobby. I'm married. I'm happily married to my wife, Albertina, and she is just amazing. And she actually works with people with visual limitation. And I only recently learned that they made special Dungeons and Dragons dice for visually impaired people, and I thought that was amazing. And I also thought, like, you know, if you're visually limited, how wonderful it would be to be able to escape in this world of fantasy and just to imagine the world around you, and you know, have a DM or a storyteller that can really give you an image of what things look like. I thought that'd be really cool. And you know, I don't really know how to, but I thought like maybe I should look into that and see if there's anything we or I can do to get people to like it. You know, not that role playing games aren't for everybody. I mean, it's not like, oh, you're blind and you must like role playing games. No, I think some people love it, some people hate it, some people are indifferent to it. It's just like any hobby. Some people are crazy about it, others are not. But I thought, just, you know, fun thing to know. We got 2 cats. I am crazy about my cats, as most cat owners are. I've had like a big black cat since before I met my wife. So he's now, I think, 16 years old. 16, maybe 17. So he's really getting old. His muscles are a bit tight, but he's just so sweet. He's so sweet. When people say like cats only care about where they live, not who they live with, that's not true. At least my experience isn't true. Whenever I come home, or and it's not just around dinner time. Whenever I come home, he just gets out of his chair and walks over and cuddles me, and whenever I'm sitting somewhere, he really does his best to stick close to me, and it's amazing. Cats are wonderful pets, at least for me. So yeah, that's about it. About me. If there's any questions or stuff, you guys can just hit me up, and You know, we have the Discord channel, so you guys can always talk to me about that. I got a little list about questions about D&D and stuff, 30 lists, but I didn't think all of them were that great. So I think I'll just run through them, you know, just for fun. How you got started? Told you guys. Favorite playable race? Halflings, because they're amazing. Playable class is probably Rogue. It's my kind of go-to character. But because I try to challenge myself when I do get to play, I kind of try to move away from those standard things for me, because I feel super comfortable and stuff with that. Talking about that, I actually, because I like to challenge myself when I roleplay and stuff, I actually sometimes roleplay women in role-playing games. Do any of you guys do that? Is that just me? Is that strange? I don't know. It came into my head. Game worlds, I don't really know. I don't really play in a lot of preset worlds. Usually I just make stuff up myself, and I like having the freedom to just do things. Favorite set of dice? I don't really have a favorite set of dice. I like the ones that I'm using now. They're black with white letters, and they pop out, so it's easily to read, and just I don't have to pick the dice up and just look at them. Favorite deity? Probably Yondala. You know, the halfling goddess. Favorite edition? They all have their perks. I've started with the red box, then I went to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I think after that we went to Dungeons and Dragons 3 and 3.5, and I kind of dropped off. I didn't really play a lot of 3 and 3.5, but I still did get the books, because I you know, I just like the art and stuff, and I try to collect them. So I also got a little bit of Pathfinder in there. I never gotten any of the 4th edition books. It's just because people were very negative about it, and it didn't fancy me, so I felt like, then I'm not gonna get the books. But then I got into the 5th edition, and I really like those. Favorite player characters? It's hard. I think it's probably one of my favorite playing characters was one of the characters I played the longest. It was in the own made self-made role playing game, and she was like a female warrior, which slowly became half divine and stuff. And she was just like this goody two shoe kind of person, and it was funny. We were playing it one time, and the mother of one of my friends was there as well. We were teens, and she was listening to us playing, and she said like, "Oh, it's so funny." She said, "When you guys role play, you always play an enlarged piece of yourself in a character." And I think that's true to a certain extent. So she says like, you know, because one of my friends, he was playing like a kind of moody person. I was like playing like, oh, everybody's happy, and always try to do the good thing. It was funny. Favorite plant PC? Well, I'm now in a fortunate situation that I get to create a couple of PCs because of the one shots that we're doing here on Armour Class 0. And Nim is going to do the next one, and I get to play a halfling again. Not a rogue at this time, but I'm gonna play a halfling cleric of Yondala. I also have this group of other people that I play with. One of the players you actually met already on the one shot that Brains run. His name is Master of Flowers, John, and him and me and 2 other players, we're gonna start also a D&D game, and on that I get to play a wood elf, a rogue, and it's a she that I'm going to be playing there, and she is going to she's going to we're going to have a high sea adventure, so that should be good. I'm also looking forward to that. Craziest experience. I think the craziest experience was partially roleplay related. I We played for a while. We played Mage: The Ascension from White Wolf, and we played it with a group. And the players, I was the storyteller, and the players were they had to deal with like a haunted house, and the haunted house was I tried to really like build it up slowly, but one of the players, her character was the ghost of the thing that was haunting it was really connecting with her, and was constantly, when she was playing or getting close to the house, she would hear her name being whispered, like Amy, Amy. And while we were playing it, she was like, "Ah, it's so funny," and "Oh, it's so cool," and you really set the mood right. And I was kind of fooling around, and I was like, "Oh, you know what would be cool if the game kind of tilts over in the real world." So we always met at a friend's house, and she had to the girl playing Amy. She had to come there by train, and I asked a friend of mine to get into the same train that she was, and kind of, you could, in the Netherlands, you can sit, like, there's benches you can sit on, comfortable benches, but the backs are kind of against each other, not your own backs, but the back of the benches, and you just sit there. So there's like 4 seats, and 2 of the backs are connected, and I asked him to sit behind her and just whisper, Amy, Amy. And and he did, and he told me how it went, and she told me how it went as well. But it was super funny, because so she was just sitting there reading her book on her way over to play our role playing game, and all of a sudden she hears behind her, she hears like, so she was like, "What?" So she kind of leaned over the backrest, and he's like, "What?" And he was like just reading a book, and kind of looked at her a bit, like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And she was like, "Okay." And she sat down, and immediately he started again, like, and she just freaked out. It was awesome. It was so wonderful. And we picked her up from the train station, and she got out of the train, and she was like looking all white, and she said, like, "Guys, I don't know what's going on. I think I need to stop these role playing games, because they're messing with my mind. It's just so weird." And she told us what happened, and I said, like, "Oh yeah, really? That's weird." And then I said, like, "Okay, no, I was messing with you. It was my friend." And she was not happy in the beginning, but afterwards she really laughed about it. She said, "Oh, that's amazing. You really you really got me." And it was just it was fun. There's a hair between my keyboard. Just dang it. There we go. So it was really fun. Yeah, I liked it a lot, and that was just so super. Favorite adventure? Oh, it's hard. It's probably one where my favorite character went up against a half god, and they fought hard, and it was epic. The road towards it was amazing. Favorite adventure I DM'd? I don't know. I've DM'd so many. So many. Oh, I've played so many role playing games. I don't know. I have to think about it. Favorite dungeon? Don't know. I don't use a ton of dungeons in my games. Traps and puzzles? Nah. Nope. No, nothing jumps to mind. Favorite NPC? question. I've played an evil sorcerer or wizard in one of the games who was like a long time protagonist, and he was really cool. Yeah, yeah, I liked him. And oh, I also actually played quite a bit of a Song of Ice and Fire role playing games. There's actually a couple of YouTube videos I think on where I've still played. Um, yeah, I liked when I was like storytelling these Song of Ice and Fire games. I like to introduce um, women that appear timid, but for some reason my players always created houses that had very low social power. You know, like cheating and manipulating and spies and stuff. And I always liked introducing women to them, which would come from different families and would live with them. And they would be like, they seemed very timid, but they would know how to play the Game of Thrones really good. So I like that. Favorite undead monster? Nah, I think vampires probably. They're cool. Also good bad guys. But I also like zombies and skeletons and stuff. Favorite aberrations? I hardly ever use aberrations, so don't know. Favorite beast? I don't know. There's just still a ton of things here. Oh, favorite monsters? I really like trolls. They're awesome. I like them, and I like how you can play with them, and I like tweaking monsters a bit. You know, sometimes making them smarter and stuff. So that's cool. Least favorite monster? Hmm. Good question. Don't know. No, I like pretty much every type of monster. It's just what you do with them, really. Favorite magical item? Whew, man, the one that fits the character. I think it's important that magic items uh, help the character, but don't become the character. Some characters, if they get a magical item, that's pretty much all they do. Hey, I got this magical item and it does this, so that's what I do, and that's not cool. So I think you need a magic item that helps you and helps you excel, but doesn't make or break who you are. Favorite non-magic item? I like the rapier. That's pretty cool. And yeah, I like that. Favorite cursed items? Don't have it. Favorite weapon? Yeah, well, rapier. Favorite spell? Uh, yeah. Hideous laughter is pretty funny. Um, I like prestidigitation because you can just do so much with it, and it's just pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. Best DM I've ever had. It's been a long time. I think at this time Jonas is probably the best DM that I've ever had. He really creates awesome characters. We played on his channel, Hammered Shitsteak, I believe it is. Um, we played kind of like a DC adventure, and he knows how to way better than I do. He knows how to create story arcs and stuff, and it's really open to feedback, and he does an awesome job. So yeah, that's great. So I've been rambling for more than half an hour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys can join our Discord channel. I think we tweeted it out, and there's probably links at stuff and things. But hit us up on Twitter, Armour Class 0. And if you have questions or things you want to know, ask, and I might answer. I might not. The players are also probably going to do something like this. Doesn't necessarily need to be in the same format as I'm doing it right now, but something like this. And I hope you guys are enjoying our adventure. Feel free to just join and talk about it. And but also, if you just want to watch and are not interested in all the talking and stuff, to be honest, I don't usually interact a lot with people in chats and stuff, but I'll make a real effort to do it here. So that's enough for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all on Wednesday, and I will most likely we will most likely let you know when the one shot of Nim is going to be. So thanks a lot and have a good day. Bye bye.